Hey, happy Monday everyone, and you know, I said I expected to do a follow-up video on the Vancouver Titans story, and here we are, doing a follow-up on the Vancouver Titans story. But for those who did not get the chance to watch our video on it last week, basically what happened was the Vancouver Titans, the runner-ups of the grand finals last year, had their entire roster dropped. And in the last video, I gave some slight speculation as to why, but the Titans claimed that it was because they came to an agreement with their players. The players wanted to go to South Korea to be with their families, and they were just running into too many issues there, so they decided to pull the plug. And after dropping their entire roster for a short time, we were kind of left wondering who would be replacing them. But it was revealed to us by ESPN Esports' Emily Rand, who said they'd be picking up most of their players from the Contenders team, Second Wind. And just over the weekend, the Titans confirmed just who they'd be picking up. And yeah, we got 4 American players from the NA Contenders team, Second Wind, and then we've got 1 from the Eternal Academy, and then 1 from European Contenders under the team Raspberry Racers. So there was a lot of uncertainty heading into last weekend because we had no idea how these guys were going to do. There is not a single Overwatch League level player on that team, and the roster that they did assemble was put together last minute, so they barely had any time to strategize and actually get used to one another as teammates. But spoilers ahead, they ended up losing to the Washington Justice 1-3, and they ended up going against the Florida Mayhem next day, losing to them 0-3 as well. So they're off to a rocky start, losing to one of the lowest placed teams in the standings right now, and bearing the burden of replacing one of the best teams the Overwatch League has ever seen. But this tells us something about Overwatch's contender system and just the Overwatch League in the first place, because it just shows how difficult it is to find top talents in this game. They could not manage to snag a single Overwatch League level player, and they had to opt for lower level Contenders players, despite the Titans probably being able to afford whoever the heck they want. And it just shows that Overwatch League level players are rare, because you can bet that the Titans probably reached out to other teams, probably tried to ask for some players to transfer, but no team is going to want to give up their players when there's already so little of them. And there's not only a drought in Overwatch League players, but also in Contenders players, because the Titans barely managed to scrape by with a playable roster. They barely only made 6 people to actually compete in the first place, and the roster isn't even fully American, which again shows the lack of Contenders players in America and just in general. But that's what Contenders is for, is to train those players up to get to that level to actually be able to compete in the Overwatch League so they can play in the big leagues. But they had to settle for some much less experienced players, whereas if there were more NA Contenders players, they might have had just a better roster. But at the same time, I've got to give some praise to the Titans, their players in the Overwatch League, because like I said, this is what Contenders is for. It's meant to give those smaller players a chance in the Overwatch League, you know, a chance to show their talents and their skills, and a chance to see if they can compete at the very top level, and they're being given that opportunity, which I think is amazing. And obviously, I got to respect the players as well, because they're replacing, like I said also earlier, they're replacing one of the best Overwatch League rosters that we've ever seen, and despite going 1-6 over the weekend, they're still very much trying. They're new, and they're gonna get there. You know, going 1-6, especially when taking a map in the first place, I feel like for against teams that have been in the Overwatch League for a while, I would say that that's pretty impressive for a team that was just put together. So we'll see where they end up going in the Overwatch League, and if the Titans are going to keep this roster as is, because right now, as it stands, they have got a lot of work to do, and they've got a lot to live up to. So of course, let me know your guys' thoughts down below on this new Titans roster, as well as any changes you think they should make, or just any other thoughts you guys might have on the matter. So of course, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye-bye.